our good friends at Bloomberg Intelligence, they survey folks out there in the marketplace to figure out what they're doing and how that may impact hotels, cruise lines, all that type of stuff, airlines, that type of thing. Jody Lurie, senior credit analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence, joins us here. Jody, what's your latest survey tell you about, maybe as we kind of head into this summer travel season, how people are thinking about how they might travel, where they might travel? How's that looking?
So I don't think you'll be surprised to hear this, Paul, but we are seeing some of the effects of the Iran war, the energy prices, enter our survey data. So, for example, personal safety is a concern among about 2/3 of survey participants, and that's the highest level since we started running this survey in December of 23. So that's not so surprising. What is surprising is how resilient the consumer has been, at least in terms of increasing budgets, in terms of planning to increase budgets, and in terms of still traveling despite the backdrop. That said, we are seeing a little bit of a bias towards domestic over international, which again, I think given the climate, given, the Trump administration's stance on immigration and all the sort of components of that, the geopolitical risk, it's not so surprising to us what we're seeing, but it's very evident in the data.
I mean, obviously, we're coming up on the big travel season in the U.S. summer. How do you expect that to start impacting all of the businesses that rely on the travel industry? I mean, if people are going domestic, that could be positive news, but also gas prices are way up.
Sure, Stacey. So I think we're seeing still that people, despite knowing that inflation is a big factor, they're still planning on increasing their budgets. And so I do wonder at what point we start seeing a shift in terms of how people travel. One of the things that came out of the survey is if costs exceed budgets, they're willing to cut back on accommodations. So going for not as luxury accommodations, but they aren't willing to sacrifice activities and experiences. But what we are seeing, though, even so, is that things like outdoors and national parks are high up on the list in terms of where people are traveling, as well as beach vacations. Now, even marrying that into the conversation, we are seeing that Mexico and the Caribbean have decreased in terms of where people are traveling for the second half of the year versus what we saw in November. So we are, there is sort of a give and take in this scenario. Are people going to the Jersey Shore over the Caribbean? I'm not sure.
You know it. Come on down to the Jersey Shore. No problem at all.
Hey, Atlantic City finally getting the boom.
Exactly. Talk to us about the World Cup, Jody. There's been some reporting that the World Cup is a little underwhelming from the hotel perspective here, maybe Airbnb as well. What are you hearing from the companies you cover about the World Cup?
Yeah, so it depends on the company you're talking about. So some of the companies, from the gaming companies to the hotels, are commenting that they are seeing a little bit of an uptick in some of their markets. And what's so interesting about the way that the World Cup is run is just how North America it is, right? You're talking Vancouver, you're talking LA, you're talking New York and Philadelphia, you're talking Mexico. I mean, there's so many areas in which the World Cup is going to be penetrating the North American landscape. But I'm curious to see how much of that is going to equate in terms of travel budgets and people going places for it. You are seeing, just anecdotally, I am starting to see locally some of the promotions happening at restaurants and at different sort of attractions as we lead into the World Cup. I'm not sure what that's going to equate in terms of actual dollars spent by people as they sort of go to the matches and celebrate it. But we do have some survey data that it is mixed. We have some people who are prioritizing sporting events over vacation, but by and large, we aren't necessarily seeing that that's the top priority for how people are going to spend their vacations for the second half of the year.
So you mentioned that people are kind of switching to domestic. Overall, how is international travel looking right now? Are we seeing it decrease a little bit? Is that maybe part of why there's a little bit of softness around the World Cup bookings?
Correct. Yes. So, Stacey, I think more so than, the World Cup bookings per se, I think it's just we're seeing a decline in terms of travel internationally overall. We're seeing fewer people planning on 3 or more vacations or 2 or more vacations internationally than we did in November. So that's a big big sort of cutback, right? And then we're also seeing that the key places that were, attractive spots going into this year, including Canada, including Italy, including Portugal, Japan, all of them, Dubai, of course, all of them are sort of seeing a little bit of a decline from November in terms of locations that people are planning on traveling to. Now, what is surprising is the UK actually bumped up in terms of priority of where people are planning on traveling next year. I don't know if that has to do anything with, USA 250, so people feel celebratory and want to show our independence for 250 years.
Yep, I don't know. I was around for the bicentennial, kids. That was big when I was 9 years old. Jody Lurie, thanks so much for joining us. Jody Lurie, Senior Credit Analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence.